As more and more individuals are moving to working from home, more and more companies are moving to find ways to keep an eye on their employees, to monitor them, to track them somehow. Now the question becomes, how far is too far? I'm Beth Motter here with ZDNet's Owen Hughes. Owen, tell us about the growing number of employees who are now reporting that their company, their boss, their organization is keeping an eye on them through tech.
Yeah, sure. So this is actually something that we kind of started to hear more of last year. So when more companies went to fully remote because of the pandemic, we had more of an increase in these stories of employers using technology to basically fill the gaps that were left by office workers no longer being in the same room as each other. So managers no longer had direct oversight over their employees. So there was a tendency for some organizations to rely more on productivity tracking software and kind of platforms that basically do a bit of the management and kind of mission tracking jobs for them. Now we've had an update from Prospect, which is a UK-based professionals union. So it's a union body for people in engineering, sciences, technology, and they surveyed nearly 2,500 UK workers and found that 1 in 3 now say that they are monitored in some way while working from home. And that's up from 24% in April 2021. So even though the conversation might have kind of faded away, we're now seeing actually this problem, this kind of creep of technology into people's homes, this kind of increase in surveillance by employers on employees is actually still going on in the background.
So at the start of the pandemic, technology was praised for keeping us all together. Now it seems to be overstepping here just a little bit. What are some tactics that companies are using to monitor their employees?
So some of these are pretty kind of sound pretty innocent. So kind of productivity tracking tools. I mean, that doesn't sound that innocent, but a lot of them are more conspicuous than others. So we're hearing some platform providers offer things like webcam monitoring, so they can actually view when employees are at their desk through a webcam. And in this survey by Prospect, 13% of home workers reported that their employers used camera monitoring tech to track them while working at home, which it's very, on the surface, that's extremely creepy. I mean, the thought of being watched by somebody else in your own home doesn't sit well. And this is up from 5% of people who reported being monitored via cameras 6 months ago. So another interesting finding is that workforces where remote working is going to be more common, so that's particularly for young workers and workers in technology, are more likely to be tracked, which is kind of ironic in a way. And the worry is that a lot of employees aren't being consulted when these technologies are introduced, which actually is a potential breach of regulations like GDPR.
The potential GDPR breach is enough of a red flag for me, and that's if you weren't already creeped out by the idea of your work using those cameras to keep an eye on you in your own home. What is being done to protect employees from this overreaching?
So in the UK, unions and other kind of government figures have called on the Information Commissioner's Office, which is an independent data regulator for the UK, to basically shore up the rules and the policies around data and technology in the workplace for home workers. This is being looked at now. So the ICO is currently working on these sets of rules and shoring them up, but we're not sure exactly what they're going to cover yet. So that's the one thing, is to make sure the data, make sure that transparency from employers in terms of what they're gathering on their employees is transparent. But also Prospect is calling on the government to actually completely ban the use of camera monitoring technologies for home workers, which I think is going to be something that all remote workers are going to want to hear.
Oh, and this might be a UK based poll, but this is not just a UK issue. This is a worldwide issue. What is being done elsewhere to support workers, support their privacy, and support their work-life balance?
Yeah, so another thing we heard a lot of last year was this right to disconnect. So again, now that more employees have been working at home and many plan to do so for the foreseeable future, a lot of employees are calling on a basically better protections for them for when they are working at home. So distinct working hours that employers can contact them, and then outside those hours, that they should be disconnected from their employers completely. So the right to disconnect is something that the European Commission is looking at to introduce more widely. And also this week we saw Portugal has actually made it illegal for employers to contact their workers outside of work hours. So I think a lot of remote workers are going to be hoping for something similar, particularly in the UK, but we're just going to have to see how that all pans out.
All right, Owen, thank you so much for reporting on this, for bringing it to our attention. If you or someone you know is being pretty heavily monitored by their workplace, I would love to hear about it. Leave us a comment. We'd love to know your thoughts and your feelings regarding this topic as well. As always, this is an ongoing story, so be sure to stick with ZDNet to pick back up and see how things play out. Thank you for watching.